Excuse me, Christine.
Oh,
well, you said it's gonna be a link that you'll send.
the recording?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
Because
gonna send it.
I have a few parents that I sent this to from Crystal, and they were up for it. When mom just emailed me that she had to go into a meeting, but she was very eager to know more information about this, and she was very excited. So that's great to hear that we're able to send a link.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and also I apologize. My audio, I don't think it's, I think it's my audio. I can't hear everyone well. It's not you all. I think it's me. So if at any point you ask me something, I don't hear it, raise your hand, put it in the chat. I think there's something going on with my audio, but as long as you guys can hear me perfectly, I'm happy. Awesome. If at any point anyone can't hear me, just let me know and we'll figure it out. All right. So just to start, so my name's Tina. I'm a speech language pathologist. I'm a pediatric bilingual speech language pathologist, actually. And my favorite thing about, the holidays and incorporating assistive technology is just realizing that, the children that we work with, and I say children because that's my specialty, that's where my expertise lies in, but knowing that the children that I'm working with are able to participate in a variety of holiday activities. There's a lot of holiday activities, holiday events that go on between now and the new year, essentially, or throughout the rest of this month. And it's always been important to me to make sure that they're involved, they want to participate. So if anyone is feeling adventurous and wants to participate, just let me know a little bit about yourself, any relationship you have with assistive technology. You might hear me say AT a lot, and I'm going to go over that in a second, but what is your background, your history? What does AT look like for you all? You're more than welcome to unmute or put it in the chat.
Okay, I'll start. I don't know if you guys can hear me. There's a lot of noise in the background. My name is Alexandra, and I work at Crystal Academy Premium Therapy Center and School in Coral Gables in Miami. We work with students with autism, so we use a lot of AT or assistive technology here. We had the privilege of Christina and Anna to come visit our school and see our students, and gave great advice on how to better our instruction in the classroom to improve student learning. And I work with the younger ones. So I use a lot of the materials, and the idea of AT is amazing. There's so many resources, so many things to learn, which is why I agreed to sign up for this luncheon, because I just love to learn more and see what's out there. But thank you so much for taking the time to do this for us. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? If not, like I said, I totally understand it. I know everyone's eating lunch. So if one more person wants to go ahead. If not, I'll just keep moving forward. All right, no worries. So here's what this works. There we go. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about some of the goals that I really want us to focus on, kind of my idea of what I want us to learn, or at least kind of get a little bit more familiar with by the end of this presentation. So we're going to talk about how to customize holiday sayings on a variety of devices. So I do have experience working with high-tech devices, but I want to make sure that we're including low-tech options, mid-tech options, and what that might include. I also want to talk about how to use a device to read and participate in timeless holiday stories or holiday activities, making sure that we're, again, being inclusive and including. And then I also want to talk about how to make the holidays assistive technology friendly, what that might look like, and what simple adjustments we can make to really support our community. So just to have fun with it, I created this little, I guess, we're going to talk about some terms. So I created this little "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" rhyme. So I'm going to go over it. Bear with me. I thought it was really funny. I was trying to get into the holiday spirit. But essentially what it says, it's "'Twas the day of the presentation, and all throughout Zoom, participants were wondering about the new information that would bloom into supports and ideas, all the things that could be. But before they began, they must learn about AT. Assistive technology is what AT means. It's a tool that helps an individual not have to lean or rely on their family and many friends. They can independently accomplish tasks to no end. Another aspect of AT we must discuss is AAC, and what it stands for shouldn't cause a fuss. Augmentative and alternative communication. Could it be a way to help individuals communicate freely? If your head is still spinning, please do not mope. I promise throughout this presentation, you will learn a lot. so I hope. In addition, you may hear words like fringe or core. I promise to inform you it won't be a bore. Core words are vocabulary we use during 80% of our day, and the rest are fringe words, which help specify what we want to say. I promise to stop rhyming and further explain. I just wanted you to remember these terms in hopes that they'll stay in your brain. So essentially, the reason why I do that is I've noticed that if I make up limericks, if I make up funny rhymes, sometimes it helps that information stick a little bit better. So throughout this presentation, you're going to hear me saying words like assistive technology or AT. So assistive technology is any tool that helps us accomplish tasks independently. So it could be something as simple as pressing the handicap button to open a door. It could be something as simple as a pencil grip. These are all forms of assistive technology. If you use the Alexa on your phone, if you've used Google Home, again, a form of assistive technology. For the most part, I have people, not raise their hands or say they've never used it, but for the most part, majority of the world has used some form of AT. Now, with that said, AT has a variety of categories that would fall under it. And one of those categories as a speech therapist is augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC. So again, AT, so assistive technology, and AAC, augmentative alternative communication. Those words are not interchangeable. You have your AT umbrella, and then underneath that umbrella, you have AAC. So AAC is a tool that helps individuals communicate, get their messages across, get their wants and needs across, helps them have those social relationships, or helps them get their needs met verbally without having another communication partner essentially anticipate what they want. And then finally, within AAC, there are certain levels of vocabulary. So you have your core words and your fringe words. So kind of how I mentioned in the little rhyme, core words are 80% of, make up essentially 80% of the language that we use every day. They're typically verbs, they're typically nouns or pronouns rather, but it's words that essentially we use throughout the day. It could be words like turn, on, off, get, go, something that we use constantly in our sentences. And then finally, we have our fringe words. And our fringe words are words that we use 20% of the day. And these are more context specific. So it's more essentially regarding or in relationship to maybe the activity at hand, or maybe it's in relation to a specific food item. Now with the holidays, we can kind of count these as personal core words or seasonal core words, because probably throughout the entire month of December, we're going to be using words like snowman. We're going to be using words like elf. We might be using words like menorah, Hanukkah. So we want to make sure that these words are on the individual's device. So moving forward, talking about those kind of core and fringe word sayings. So there are a variety of sayings that we say at Christmas time, whether it's Merry Christmas, whether it's Feliz Navidad, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, whatever it might be. We want to make sure that these individuals have the ability to communicate, have the ability to express themselves, and we want to make sure that these vocabulary, they're available to the individual, regardless of what system they're using. So there are a variety of options for systems. You can use something low tech that it could be a communication board. It doesn't really have a lot of options. So here's a low tech idea. And these are simple words. You can create them yourself. Something I might recommend is going to Lesson Picks, going to Boardmaker, and they have images that are a bit more consistent. But with that said, don't feel like you have to use Lesson Picks, and don't feel like you have to use Boardmaker. Understand that you can really find these pictures on Google, and you can create your own, essentially your own communication board. I also apologize if you can hear a little bit barking downstairs. I live with the Grinch, my little English bulldog, and there's a garbage truck outside, and she's yapping nonstop. So I do apologize if you can hear her. But with that said, we have those holiday green options. So let's look into some of these communication boards, and they can be context specific. So it can be maybe last night was the first night of Hanukkah. So we want to make sure that the child we're working with, they can participate in Hanukkah and they can say Happy Hanukkah, or maybe they want to request for a potato locky, or they want to get one of those golden coins, or they want to light the candle. So we want to make sure that maybe there's some icons on their board. It doesn't necessarily have to be a phrase. It could just be in the image that they can use to point to, use an open palm, use a laser pointer, whatever it might be. Same with Christmas. Maybe we have it, again, activity-based. Maybe we're lighting the Christmas tree. Maybe we're going to Santa's Enchanted Forest, or the new one, Christmas Wonderland, whatever it is. And we want to make sure that they have access to being able to say like, oh, like I see your reindeer. The reindeer is cool. I want to see the lights. I want to get hot chocolate. I want to get a churro, whatever it might be. We want to make sure that they have access to it. So don't feel like because you don't have a big button, or you don't feel like you have a device, that you can't essentially participate in, you can't incorporate these vocabularies, because you can. You can create them just by using a Google search, just by using a Word document, laminate it, stick it in, you got it to go. Sometimes AAC, the best way to start is just keeping it simple and just going from the get-go. And you might want to look into some mid-tech options. Let's say somewhere where you're working has resources like a GoTalk, like a Big Mac. You can essentially adapt these things. So I have it, I'll explain it in a little bit, but I do have this sectioned off for another part of the activity, but I have it set to the word jingle. So it was more so for the intention of if I'm working with someone and they want to sing jingle bells, but they can't verbally express themselves. So what other way can we participate in jingle? Well, I listen to the song. There's a lot of times it says jingle bells all the time. So what if I just include the word jingle, and then that way they're able to sing? But you don't have to be limited to the word jingle. Maybe you use it for Merry Christmas, and then we change it for something else, or maybe we change it for build a snowman. Maybe we change it for building a gingerbread house. Maybe we change it for lighting a candle on the menorah, spinning the dreidel, whatever it may be. You can adapt it, and it's really simple. It has the instructions right here. This is called a Big Mac. Most of them have their instructions on the back. You can record your message. And with that said, another mid-tech option is called a GoTalk 9. I have one here. Also, I don't know if you can see. So here's another option. I did not have, my printer was not working this morning, so I could not print out this beautiful little GoTalk 9 that I found. So I created my own, and I drew pictures instead. But again, the intention is to help create communication. So a lot of communication is rooted in motor planning. A lot of communication is rooted in this cause and effect relationship. I activate this, something happens. So they're able to still express themselves regardless of what the output might look like. So I'll click on a couple. So holiday greetings, if they want to say, oh, it might help if I turn it on. So if they want to say, there it is. So if they want to say,
Merry Christmas.
they can say Merry Christmas. If they want to maybe request for Christmas movie.
Put on a Christmas movie.
And you don't have to keep it to words. You can have it as phrases.
I want to spin the dreidel.
Could be.
Let's light a candle on the menorah.
And it doesn't even have to be requests or directives. It could even be like, I like hot chocolate. I like churros. So keep that in mind. There are a lot of different phrases that you can use. You just have to kind of figure out who it is that you're working with. It's not time consuming, but you do have to dedicate time to it. So you do have to try to section off 5-10 minutes a day to really customize it to that individual, and then customize those phrases. So we also have a high-tech option, and I'm going to show you as well in my iPad that I have next to me, but I'm going to talk with you a little bit about it first. So there are high-tech options. There are so many devices out there. I can't say for certain, yes, do this application. Yes, do this application. Yes, do this application. What I will say is, and I can't think of any that aren't, majority of these, I will say majority because, sometimes there are some that aren't, but majority of these are easily customized. So with that said, that particular system may not have certain holiday phrases that you say. For instance, we live in Miami. I remember when I went away to school in Tallahassee, I would ask everyone like, oh, what are you doing for Noche Buena? What are you doing? Do you have a cajachina? What is that? What does Christmas Eve look like for you? And I never realized, that's how sheltered I was. I never realized that Noche Buena wasn't just a thing for Christmas Eve, that most people outside of Miami, or most people who aren't Hispanic, don't celebrate Christmas Eve. Their big celebration is Christmas Day. So what we might put focus on, others might not. So keep that in mind, that you're very much allowed and encouraged to customize these, so long as you're not editing or changing a button. You're essentially creating a new button and putting it in a new location, or not new location, rather creating a new motor plan. So with that said, I'm going to stop my share really quick and start sharing on here. So hopefully you guys can see it. I know it takes a little time, so give it a second. So looking at both. So I'm using a system. A lot of people are familiar with systems like LAMP, Protocol to Go, Touch Chat. So this is a system I wanted to kind of put in the spotlight a little bit. It's a not new one, but it's fairly, I don't think it's as known. So this one's called TD Snap Motor Plan. So what's really nice is this is, again, a system that's rooted in motor planning, but I'm able to customize it. So I created this page on my own because beforehand, so you'll see in holidays, beforehand, you'll see all these holiday pages. So if I click on Hanukkah, it'll just say it there. But I wanted to make sure that I'm essentially creating an option for this child that I'm working with. The child is, if I needed to use an AAC device as a child. Because my holidays were very different than most people, I made sure I went to the Christmas button, and you see how it's kind of grayed over a little bit, has this gray triangle in the top right corner. That means, and this is in regards just to this particular system, but that system means that it's going to open it to a new page. So I'm going to open it to this new page that I created. And these are some of the things that I did for my holiday. And this is kind of why I'm going to stress the customization component of it. I was a child that grew up I spoke English and Spanish, but I was also a child who grew up with two religions. My father he was previously, he converted, but was Jewish, and my mother is Catholic. So I grew up celebrating Jewish holidays with my grandparents, but I also celebrated Catholic holidays with my other grandparents. So it is important to keep that customization aspect in mind, because for me as a child, these were words that I would use during the season. So I want you to think about that and think about the importance of customization and how each individual might not be using the same vocabulary as the next person, but we want to make sure it's customized. If you're interested on how to customize the programming of it, we do have a presentation saved on our YouTube that you're more than welcome to watch. Keep in mind, each system is different, and I didn't do a presentation on how to customize this device, but I will be happy and more than willing to help you learn how to customize these devices and programming features of it. I'm not going to go into it because it is kind of not lengthy, but there's a lot of questions that arise from it. But I just want to let you all know that it is an option. So for me, because it's Hanukkah right now, I would probably request to light the menorah and maybe spin the dreidel. So I'm going to end menorah. Just really wanted to drive home that point. Let me stop sharing here. There it is. All right, and then I'm going to go back to the presentation. All right. All right, so kind of how do we do this? What does that look like? And again, this is kind of where I talk to you again about that customization. I just created a little simple Pig Rose Kahachina communication board. Now, even this, I will say, is most likely particular to probably my in-laws family. So sometimes we did a Kahachina, but not really. But my in-laws, they always do. And it's a big event, and it's on the 23rd. I go to my in-laws' house. We work on the Kahachina. We all work together. We put garlic into the pig. So there's certain vocabulary I wanted to make sure I include, but maybe your family doesn't use a Kahachina, but you want to include those fringe words. So those are those personal core words for this holiday, or seasonal core words, if you may. But they're fringe words any other time, because there's no other opportunity where I would probably put pig roast other than maybe for Noche Buena. So I wanted to include pig. I included hot. I got a picture of a Kahachina, got the garlic. I wanted to make sure we do have some core words, because maybe it's overstimulating for them. So maybe they need to ask for help to put something into the pig, or help to go reach something. Maybe a nice way to request for a break, like, hey, this is a lot going on. I can't, really focus. I need my space alone. I need a break. I'm going to walk away from the family for a little bit. Maybe, if they're able to answer some yes, no questions, giving them the ability to like, yeah, I'm great. No, I'm not. Yes, it tastes good. No, it doesn't taste good. So do keep that in mind, that there are alternatives, there are options to it. So with that said, I also kind of wanted to show you how to include little activities using assistive technology. So I'm going to close out of this. Thought I had it open, but I don't think I do. So I'm going to open, oops. I'm hoping you can hear it. There it is. I wanted you all to get an idea. Apologize for the ad.
Click here to make your.
So again, hopefully you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear the, perfect, okay. So I want to, different than the one I use, but it's fine.
Dashing through the snow.
So I'm going to show you how you can use a device to allow a child to participate in singing songs for Christmas.
O'er the fields we go.
And I like this one in particular because it's lighting up the words as well.
Laughing all the way.
A lot of nice visual prompts as well.
Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright.
And it's slow, it's not as quick as the other one, so you want to look up different options.
What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight.
Now they can participate and say,
ah, jingle bells, jingle bells. Jingle all the way.
Let me back it up because I want the full effects for you all.
Ah, jingle bells,
Jingle.
jingle bells.
Jingle.
Jingle all
They can
the way.
participate, they can sing, they can use those visual cues. I know I'm a little off on my timing, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys the general idea of it. Because, oh, okay, I thought I exited out. So this way they're able to essentially participate in, again, holiday activities without feeling left out because they can't sing the song, or they can't, yeah, exactly, sing along. They can't say jingle bells. So they have an option. Oh, something else I wanted to include as well. So if you are also reading stories, so I know I have this kind of section for different holiday greetings, different holiday requests, but if you are reading a story about Jingle Bells or the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, you can include different components of the story into Go Talk, so they are able to respond. So maybe you have some questions, or maybe you have some comments like, oh yeah, look at the bunny, I'm thinking good night moon, all right, look at the reindeers, look at Santa, look at the elf on the shelf, whatever it might be. And again, customize. I think you're going to hear me say the word customization a lot, but that's kind of this big component with making sure it's inclusive. We have to do the work on ourselves, but once the work is done, that's it. You can use it for the following holiday. It makes it a lot easier. So dedicate that time, whether it's 5 minutes or not, to customize essentially that support. Now, I'm going to show you now, if it lets me open it. Oh, not that. Okay. Sorry, it's always a little bit back and forth. So I kind of want to introduce a little bit about how to read stories during the holiday season. So I want you to learn the location of each target word. So with that said, let's say you have a particular story in mind, whether it's the story Elf, whether it's Elf on the Shelf, whether it's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Go through that book yourself before and try to see if you can find any target words that maybe you've been using with the child you're working with. Try to see if you can find any particular words that seem to repeat themselves or have these repetitive phrases or words. And then that way you can choose that target vocabulary and again, customize it. The same way that I chose it for Jingle Bells, I found jingle, like, all right, they say jingle about like 5 times in that song. Let's add in jingle. And then that way they're able to participate. Think of it in that aspect too. And again, you can use anywhere from low tech to high tech supports to really support those literacy skills and involvement. It doesn't have to solely be high tech. It doesn't solely have to be low tech. It really can be anything. And I want you to focus on both core words and fringe words. I can 100% tell you, jingle is not a core word. Jingle is a fringe word. But by using this repetitive fringe word, they're still able to participate. So other assistive technology components that aren't essentially AAC related, but to kind of help support literacy skills, you can use popsicle sticks or cotton balls to help turn the pages of a book. So it's something really simple. You just adhere it to, usually I would recommend like the board books. You can adhere it to the board books, and then it helps turn the pages of the book. So they're able to essentially participate in that literacy activity component. Again, highlight icons of target words in the story. So you can use AAC companion books. So I put a link here. So hopefully it should pop up. All right, we're in Miami, so things are getting a little warm. So I'm going to take off my coat. But you can see that it has an AAC book companion. So it's for this story called Bear Stays Up. You can create these your own, or you can purchase them on Teachers Pay Teachers. This is just one that I found. So this is not an ad for anything. This is not my own personal one. I don't know this person, but it's just something that I found. And you can see that it goes along with the story, and then it has activities throughout it. So it helps on sequencing, helps on participation. So again, keep that in mind. There are AAC companions. You can also, again, use a single message output button to record those repetitive phrases, as well as using or creating manipulatives to act out a story. So, for example, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. She created this manipulative box. So it has Santa, it has stockings, it has Christmas trees, it has reindeers, it has a little house, and you can essentially act out that story. And again, you're reinforcing those early literacy skills. You're reinforcing that narrative retell. You're reading the story with them, but then you're able to act it out. So just know that there are outside alternatives for AT that are not just focused on these AAC high-tech battery-operated devices. You can find these at your local Dollar Tree even, and essentially create your own manipulatives for the stories that you're reading and allow that participation. But I have a feeling, oh no, okay. Oh my goodness, does not want to, let's see. Is it gonna let me do it? Nope. All right, we're just gonna let it scroll in because I think it's just giving me a little hard time. That's okay. So how are we going to do this? Because it feels very overwhelming. There's a lot going on. What other options are out there? What other options are available? So I'm going to show you. I'd love for this to, there we go. All right, so I'm going to show you this AAC support called Cough Drop. So this is a free resource. You don't pay anything. You can download the app right now. This is something you can even, again, as you see, use on your computer. And the reason why I wanted to show it to you was because there's another website called Epic, and they have these free holiday stories. So I'm going to do a brief, quick example of how we can do it. But let's say I'm reading the story and I want maybe the child to participate. And I know that one of the words is Santa Claus or Christmas Eve. And I'm using this new system. And maybe I don't know where a particular word is. So I might search for it. So I'm going to click on Find a Button. And let's see, I'm going to look for Christmas Eve. And it's going to tell me where it was.
Christmas Eve.
And I can create my
Christmas
sentence.
Eve.
So this is a way, again, to have this participation while you're reading a story. So let's say I want the child to, I've read the story with the child multiple times, and maybe I want them to finish my sentence. So I might read it as, oh, this is a story of how Buddy the Elf saved Christmas. It's a story that begins many years ago. And then see, can they finish my sentence with it? So can they, on their system, tell me Christmas Eve? And that's maybe that demand that I put on them. So again, it's a repetitive story. It's something that's familiar. I'm most likely modeling this beforehand so that they're not, stressed out. And the best way that I can relate this to is I've been working with a child recently that we're doing literacy and AAC. And while it's not a Christmas story, the story that I've consistently been reading with him is The Hungry Caterpillar. So I've been modeling certain target words. So I've been modeling hungry caterpillar. I've been labeling the fruits. And he is very adamant that I have to count his fruits. So I make him tell me like, okay, count apples, count strawberries. That's fine. I'll do it. We're labeling, we're engaged. And yesterday, so we've been doing this maybe for about 3 weeks now. Yesterday was the first time that he initiated by himself, me saying, okay, and I paused and I waited and I gave that prompt about 10 seconds and he was able to state hungry caterpillar. Now keep in mind, this was not without a lot of practice, a lot of models, a lot of patience, some gestures, some prompts. So I don't want you to have this expectation that the children that you're working with or individuals that you're working with are going to get this overnight, because I don't want to burst your bubble, but it's not going to happen. I mean, it could, but more likely than not, it's probably not going to happen. So while yes, this is a great literacy activity to do for the holidays, this might be something that you want to consider starting earlier in the year. So maybe right after Thanksgiving, or slowly start introducing it, so by the time we get to Christmas, they are able to do it, because it's not just going to happen overnight. So think of it more as overall literacy skills. Read those repetitive books, get into that pattern, decide the target words that you're going to focus on, know where they are in the device, model, prompt, and then I promise you, you'll see that success. But it does take time. So I don't want you to be like, okay, I'm going to go home, I'm going to do this tonight, and then it doesn't work, because it does take patience and it does take time. But I can tell you my own personal success story with it, that it does work, but it was only after a lot of repetition, a lot of models, and a lot of prompts. But these are free resources. So even if it's not Christmas or holiday focused, just know that you can use Epic and Cough Drop as a free resource for the time being to support essentially that literacy skills and to support that participation and inclusion during any literacy activity, regardless if it's holiday based or not. But I just kind of wanted to put a holiday twist on it. So the website is called, I think it's here. I think it's getepic.com. So those are where those free resources are. You can log in as a teacher, log in as a parent, create your own account. And then the other one is Cough Drop. So if you just type in mycoughdrop.com, you'll be able to find, and they have a variety of vocabulary. So they have different systems that you can trial out. But again, this is a free resource, and a lot of individuals who do have autism, as their own personal testimonials, have stated that they prefer this kind of system. So keep that in mind. There are options out there. All right. So what other environmental adaptations or what other opportunities are out there for assistive technology? So I didn't want to just focus on AAC, because I know that's, not always the case for everyone. So I did a little bit of some more research, and I want you to consider maybe even using some smart plugs. So I think I have to double check if they have it on here. They may not, I may have to type it out, but on certain systems, you can essentially create the phrase Alexa. I don't think, might not be on, no. But there's a keyboard. So I'm going to type the name. I don't have one in here, so I apologize if anyone has one, and I'm going to set it off. But I can type in the name.
Alex, Alexa.
And maybe I can tell her, I don't know where the word is here. So I'm going to have to find them all. So I'm going to say turn. Let's see. There it is.
Turn.
I'm going to find on. Let's see. I'm going to make sure I say Christmas lights.
Christmas.
So again, this is
Light.
something.
Alexa, turn on the Christmas
These are
light.
environmental adaptations. So maybe they can verbally say it if they can't turn it on, or you can have the device say it. Again, there's some programming features of it. So you do have to kind of have someone who's a little tech savvy to connect the smart plug Alexa to the Christmas lights. But autonomy allows them the opportunity to be independent. So keep that in mind. It could be verbally, or it could be said on the device. It could be a pre-recorded message, either in the Go Talk, Big Mac, whatever it might be. Be creative. Know that there are options out there. Something else that you can do is create your own Switch adaptive toys. So you can do this I would highly recommend, full disclaimer, watch a YouTube video on it, because I have never done this personally, but you can use a battery interrupter that has essentially a switch connected to the end of it. I always call it the aux plug, but I know that's not what it is, but it kind of looks like that. And those Christmas toys that you see sometimes sold at CVS, or even a toy that maybe is being purchased for this child for Christmas or for Hanukkah, and you want them to be able to use it, but maybe they have some motor challenges. Know that you can create your own Switch adaptive toy using a battery interrupter, purchase that switch, and then they're able to participate and engage with this toy that they really like, or could potentially really like, that maybe beforehand you might not have been aware that this was even a potential option for them. And then another thing that we can focus on is representation within the holiday activities. I saw this the other day, and it was a little elf on the shelf who was sitting in a wheelchair. And then this mom did all of the activities for her child who is in a wheelchair with the elf on the shelf on a wheelchair. And keep in mind, you can do it with a child who uses an AAC device. You can do it with a child who maybe has autism and likes to wear those headphones because it's overstimulating for them. Whatever it might be, make sure that whatever elf or mensch on the bench, because I know that's one that my dad has used for the Jewish holidays, know that you can essentially adapt those individuals or those holiday representatives to represent that child. So make sure they're having that representation within the actual holiday activities themselves. Something else you can do are adaptations to opening advent calendars. I know I don't have one with me now, but I know a lot of times you have to kind of push down on something, open it, and it's not really easy for them to open. So I want you to consider maybe creating these punch through ones. So you'll hot glue gun a cup to a piece of cardboard and use tissue paper. And it teaches you how to do it. And I know the intention really wasn't for individuals who have motor disabilities, but I was just still thinking overall, this is a much better option than having them poke through a cutout, pull out the cutout. They have to use a lot of fine motor, fine motor skills rather. Go ahead, I see someone's raising their hand. Oh, wait, I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
I apologize. The connection, kind of, internet. What would be this for? Like counting down the days of Christmas? Is that what this is for?
So an advent calendar. So a lot of people have advent calendars to count. Is that how you're saying, to count down for Christmas? But they're not able to open it. Like the Trader Joe's ones, it's like a piece of chocolate, but you have to like rip in, pull it out. I have another one that I got for my husband. It's the same thing. Rip in, pull it out, and it takes a lot of fine motor challenges. You have to isolate a finger point, push it in, rip the finger, and pull it out. But this is another option where you can punch a hole, you can use your finger. It's tissue paper, so it's easy to break, but they're still able to participate. They can use their foot, they can use their knee. It's tissue paper, so it's very easy to rip open.
Is there a way we can get the link of this video?
Yeah, I'll make sure to send it to you.
Love it. Thank you very much.
I know I've been bombarding the chat with links of everything you're saying, Tina, but that one I don't particularly have.
I just added in the link now.
Oh, okay, because everything else you've mentioned, it's in the chat.
So there's something else I will mention too, is some adaptations to spinning the dreidel as well. So I know that the way that it works is you have to, again, fine motor skills, you have to kind of pinch that dreidel and spin it at the same time. So I was trying to think what other alternatives are out there. And even though this is, yes, considered like a baby toy, what's really nice is it adheres to whatever surface it's on. It has that suction cup. And you can see how it's sectioned off in different colors. My thought process was whatever symbol it lands on for the dreidel, you can section it off kind of like a wheel for the dreidel as well. And all they have to do is use an open palm, push it down, and then it spins, and they can still participate again in that activity. So be as creative as you possibly can, see what strengths that individual has, and try to find what opportunities are out there, what simple tools are out there already that we can just adapt on our own. And something else that I think is really important that I wanted to make sure I showcase, and I'll show this video as well. It's a way to help open a gift for someone who has, who may be struggling with, again, opening those presents, don't have those motor skills. So I promise I'll share this link because I think this is an important one. So this is how to wrap a gift for someone. Oh, make sure.
And tie or tape a large loop at either end. Wrap your ribbon around your present and use the weight of the gift to keep the ribbon in place. Wrap the gift as you usually would, making sure to leave the loops free so they are easily reachable. This works brilliantly for children as well as elderly or disabled loved ones. Now your loved one has easy grip so they can really rip into their present.
So I thought that was a great alternative. Again, just thinking what simple solutions are out there that we can use and we can find to help support the community and the loved ones that we're working with. So I included that link in there. So let me go back here. Okay. So with that said, where does this holiday magic come from? How does this presentation even happening? So this is all through FAAST. So FAAST stands for the Florida Alliance for Assistive Services and Technology. So FAAST is kind of Florida's AT version of the North Pole. myself and Anna were the little elves working at the regional demonstration centers, trying to focus on getting that assistive technology information out to everyone in our local communities. So FAAST offers 4 services at no cost, regardless if you're on the naughty list or on the nice list. You get these services. It's 4 services at no cost. We have information and assistance where someone might call us, ask us some information about AT, assistive technology, AAC, augmentative and alternative communication, maybe where they can get an evaluation, where they can purchase something. We also have our assistive technology demonstrations. I'll show you some programming of these devices, how to program a GoTalk, how to program a high-tech device, a Big Mac, how to program one of our many other AT options that we have at the lab. We also do a variety of assistive technology trainings, and my caveat and what I go to is, so long as there's an AT component, I can help you. So if there's something that you want me to present to your organization, to a family, to really anyone, I can help create a presentation for you. We can work in tandem. I can create the presentation for you in general, so long as there's some kind of assistive technology component to it. And then finally, we have our assistive technology 30-day device loan program, which is the one that I'm really going to encourage, because you're seeing all these tips and tricks that I'm talking about today, but how do we kind of make it into reality? Well, rather than purchasing one of these devices because it's a little expensive, you can trial it out first. So think of it more as a trial basis. Like, is this going to work? How do I do it? Is it going to be worth it? Is it going to benefit this patient? Is it going to benefit that patient? You can donate. You can borrow one of our devices for 30 days. You have it, you test it out, you kind of experience what it might be like. And then at the end of the 30 days, it is with the intention that you send it back. But think of it similar to a library where you're loaning out a book. You're seeing, do I really like this book? Oh yeah, I love this book. Now I want to purchase it. Rather than, purchasing book after book after book after book, you can see which ones are worth it. The same thing with these devices. You can borrow a variety of devices, see which one is beneficial for that user, and then essentially purchase it if the time is right and if it ends up being beneficial for that particular person.
And I would like to add to that,
Sure.
Tina, that this is also a great way to get parents or family members introduced to AT, because you might, or AAC, you might be doing things in class or therapy, but don't have access to kind of have parents try these things as well. So this is also a great program for parents to be involved in.
Exactly. A lot of times I don't get, it's hard to get buy-in from families sometimes, and I'll 100% admit that I want the families to be comfortable. I want them to be excited. So sometimes if I give them this option, it kind of takes that pressure off of like, well, they're bombarding me and they're telling me how to do this and they're telling me how to do that, and I don't even know if it's going to work for my child. This kind of helps eliminate that pressure where it's, it's no pressure. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it works. It's at no cost to you. It's at no cost to your child. It doesn't hurt. See what might be beneficial, because at the end of the day, we want to focus on everyone and everyone's comfort level. So this might be a nice way to kind of help them understand that this is solely to benefit and help and not to harm. So speaking of finances, because kind of as I said, these devices are a little costly, which might make some parents apprehensive, which is totally understandable. There are some financial supports that FAAST offers. So we have our assistive technology classifieds, very similar to a Facebook marketplace, where people put up items that are gently used or no longer beneficial to the previous AT user, and it varies from anything. So my strongest recommendation is, if you're looking for something in particular, and maybe the family can't afford the specific device or a specific AT that they're looking for, look every day, because it'll change I believe on a daily, if not weekly basis. So at the very least, check once a week.
I added the link there, and that's something that it's very important. People can search for things to be donated and maybe, like Tina said, acquire them.
Exactly. So it's really beneficial. So I'd keep your kind of eyes peeled and keep looking. We also have our financial loan program. So this is something that works more with our headquarters. And again, there's maybe a cost attached to both of these items, the AT classifieds. Sometimes it can be free, but sometimes there's a cost attached to it. Definitely a financial loan program, there will be a cost attached to it, but it's more so in the sense of it's very similar to a bank loan. So if they want to apply for a bank loan, or they want to apply for a different kind of loan that's not with the bank, but they want to apply for one anyway because they need to help purchase a device, they can go through our financial loan program. It is with the intention that you pay that money back at an agreed upon interest rate, and I believe it does vary. But that's something that we can send the information for the contact for the financial loan program, because I don't deal with it hands-on, but I can send you to the person who would be the best point of contact for that.
Yeah, and to put some context into that, this could be helpful for families that, let's say, have to even do home modifications because, you know, the individual needs access to the bathtub or the kitchen, or and they just need that cash to make that, you know, investment. So this is something that they can apply for and hopefully be a little easier to qualify for than going to a personal bank loan.
So where is the North Pole? So FAAST, a South Regional Demonstration Center, and Broward Regional Demonstration Center are located at the University of Miami Mailman Center. So we're right across the street from Jackson. We're in the Health District. We're on the second floor of the Mailman Center. And we support Monroe County, Miami-Dade County, and Broward County. Now, with that said, if someone from Collier County or Leon County calls and reaches out, we'll happily help. We'll guide you to your respective RDC, but we're never going to turn anyone away. So if you know someone who maybe lives outside of these counties or even lives in a different state, please feel free to send them our way. We're not going to say, no, you don't live in Miami-Dade or Broward, so I can't help you. We're going to help anyone and everyone. So we're more than willing and happy to help. We'll guide you to the appropriate individuals, but just know that really our main essentially target audience and population is Monroe, Miami-Dade, and Broward County. But we'll help anyone that needs help. That's what we're here in the business for.
And I will say, I know most of you are locals, but just so that you're aware, this fantastic FAAST program is not unique to even just Florida. It's actually a national resource. It's available, the state AT program, in every state and territory in the United States. So all these sort of resources we're talking about, loaning things and trainings and demonstrations of AT are actually available through any other state.
Yes. And I know, and I'm sure you've already put it in the chat, or if not, you're going to, but the at3center.net is how you can find your state's assistive technology program. And they mimic, majority, if not all, mimic the same services that we're talking about today. Maybe the way that they disseminate the information and get the devices out there might vary, but for the most part, they should have very similar services to what we provide as well. So with that said, because we talked a lot about AAC, AT, you know, who deserves to be on Santa's nice list? Who deserves to use this stuff? And really, it's anyone and everyone can use assistive technology. I can use it. You can use it. Little Timmy down the street can use it. Fulanito can use it. Whoever it is, they're able to use it. There is no age restrictions and there's no limitations as to who can use it. Something I will say, and sometimes I hear it a lot, is they have to master certain skills or skill set to be considered a potential AAC user. And that's not the case. Everyone is eligible to use AAC. And what we want to focus on, what are those strengths? What are those foundational skills that we have that we can use to our benefit, and then teach them or show them that there are these options out there, these supports out there to help them communicate, because they have strengths, but how do we use those strengths to help them communicate, to help them have their message be heard? So keep that in mind. There is no set of skills that need to be mastered before they're considered eligible or potential AAC user. The moment you're born, you're considered an eligible and potential AAC user, is what I'd like to say. So let's kind of check our stocking. So let's check back on everything that we had talked about. So we talked about how to customize holiday sayings on a variety of devices. We talked about doing it with low-tech devices, mid-tech devices, high-tech. And really kind of the best thing that I want you guys to take away from this is customization. Customize, customize, customize. You have to take the time to do it, but make sure you're customizing. How to use a device to read and participate in timeless holiday stories. So this is one that is going to take, again, a little bit of time. The best way to do it is read that story, try to figure out what words repeat themselves, what words are repetitive, make it a familiar story, make sure you model, prompt, and then give that wait time so they have the opportunities to request, the opportunities to participate. And I promise you, more likely than not, they will. So I can say from my own clinical experience, from my own personal experience, it works. And then how to make the holidays AT friendly. So I know we talked about options for advent calendars, options for opening presents, options for adapting a variety of toys, a variety of tools, and make sure representation is included as well. Representation matters, and I want to make sure that these individuals that we're working with see themselves represented, whether it's something that we have to create ourselves because it's not available on the media. What are things that we can do on our own to make them feel heard and feel represented? So a little quick acronym, so can talk about what's in our stocking. Keep it simple. Like I said, when we're doing those Zotex stuff, you don't have to purchase lesson picks. You don't have to purchase Board Maker. If you're just starting out, let's keep it simple. Let's use pictures we find on Google. Let's customize it for that individual, but let's keep it simple. Time, that's something you heard me talk about a lot. Take that time, make sure you're giving them the opportunity, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, take that time to essentially create that support. Open, be open to everything. You know, there is no wrong answer. Keep trialing, keep figuring things out, but be open to a variety of options, a variety of solutions. Customize. Customize is kind of the one I really want you guys to take away more than anything else, especially now for the holidays. We have those core fringe words that we use all the time, but to really kind of keep that inclusion, keep that active part of it going, we do have to customize some of these devices for particular users. Keep it in hand, keep it within reach for that user. Just because they may not be using it in the moment, make sure it's within at least an arm's reach so that they need access to it, they can go and they can grab it. Include, again, that inclusion. We want to make sure that they are represented, they're included in these activities, and they're having fun and they're participating. Normalize. We want to normalize this. This is something that, you know, I feel like a lot of parents or a lot of individuals sometimes are averse to it just because they don't see it all the time. And I'm really big on, I want to normalize AT and the use of assistive technology to the community, because if this is what someone uses to communicate, that's what they use to communicate, and that's beautiful and that's fine. And it's normal. So it doesn't have to be something that we're afraid of. And then finally, the last one is grace. Make sure you're giving yourself some grace with this, because it's not going to be easy. It's not always going to be clean. It's not always going to be right. It's not always going to be smooth, but give yourself grace and give your communicator grace, your AT partner, whoever it might be, give them grace as well, because it does take time and it's not going to happen perfectly every time. But when it does, it's going to feel so right. So if you need to get in contact to us, I think Anna had put our information in the chat anyway, but this is some of our information as well. You can reach me at this email address as well as Anna. And that phone number rather that you see there, I'm going to encourage you all to call and leave us a voicemail. Anna and I are usually running around all of Miami, if not all of Mailman Center. So the best way to get into contact is either leave us a voicemail or send us an email, because we might not be able to answer the phone immediately. So I'm gonna really encourage, leave a voicemail. And if you give our number out to anyone, please let them know to leave a voicemail, because that'll be really the only way that we can get back in contact with them. With that said, if you don't mind, we have a little QR code, just a survey of how today went, just so we can gauge it for future presentations to know, did you like it? Did you not? Was there anything you would want to change? No answer is wrong. Like I said, it's open to anyone's interpretation, but this is really just kind of your opportunity now to let us know what worked and what didn't. Go ahead.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Overall, the presentation was amazing. I loved all the tips you gave, and I think everything was amazing. I do have one question. Do you guys offer parent training for students that use AAC devices that are going through like body changes, like for girls? Like, do you guys offer that, or something along the lines of that?
I mean,
I
didn't want to. Yeah,
go ahead, Anna. Sorry, I feel like you can answer better.
Over you. I would say that to refer to FAAST, our focus is on the AT.
Got it.
So
Okay.
our focus is on helping them understand the AT that they want to learn about or that they're using. Obviously, because, you know, Tina's background is speech, my background is special education, we do incorporate a lot of our own strategies into maybe, you know, how you can adapt this to the child. But we have to take into consideration that a lot of the times we don't really know well the child or the parent to be able to offer like a specific recommendation. Okay. But we are okay tackling any subject. Yes. If they want to talk about anything and they really need help, we can help.
Okay, and these were great. Do you guys do other lunch workshops, or not workshops, but like trainings, luncheons like this?
If you want them, we'll continue.
The goal is, as long as there's a need, to try to do it once a quarter.
Okay.
And feel free to email us like topics of things that you're interested in, because, you know, we kind of cater it to the demand. And so there's a topic in specific you want us to address, and Tina and I can look into it as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
And we do also do these type of trainings for parents.
Mhm.
So if parents want to like be introduced to AAC or understand more, or even focus on just one AAC tool in particular, we could do that too.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course. I mean, and that's kind of, it opens the floor. So if you have any questions or comments about AT, let us know. This is kind of what it's for, but that's really it for our presentation. But if anyone has any questions or comments, happy to answer. And if not, that's okay, because I know we're about, I think, almost to 1. So I know people have meetings now, patients now, but whatever you guys need.
Thank you, girls, so much. This is very, very helpful.
Of
And we're
course.
looking forward to seeing you in January.
Yes.
Have a good one. Happy holidays.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for the time.